We found this little dresser by the side of the road on garbage day. And although it may not look like it, I think it has potential. It's still got most of its hardware and it looks kind of mid-century. So in this video, I'll be repairing and refinishing it. This is the first time I've tried a complete restoration of a piece of furniture. So let's get it out of the shed and get started. Step 1, strip it.
So what do I got here? It's a heavy body paint remover. Yeah. And that's in French. Okay, oh, here we go. Okay, strips off easily. Multiple layers of oil, latex, and epoxy paint. Oil and latex varnish. Okay, that's promising. Contents may be under pressure. Don't work in direct sunlight. Oh, well. And protect work area with polyethylene. Well, I have a lawn and some plywood. And I should use a maple scraper and stuff. And a stripping pad. I don't have any of that stuff.
I wasn't sure about this paint stripper. Earlier this year, I wanted to remove paint from the stairs, and I picked up a bottle of low-odor, non-toxic paint stripper, which seems to be the only kind you can get these days. And it completely failed to strip any paint.
Let's read instructions again. Da-da-da. Okay. 15 minutes or until paint blisters. Alright, here we go. Pete's sake. Is this even gonna work? What the hell? There.
This new one works pretty good, and it starts reacting with a finish right away. And you can hear how surprised I was.
Ew! Oh wow! These black gloves aren't really doing much for me, and they are being eaten up by the paint remover, so I'm looking for my refueler gloves. Yeah. Oh, what the hell is that? There you go. Oh, you're a fat freaking hornet. Lovely. Alright, fine, whatever. Okay, oh, here they are. Aha. One. And two. Aha. Yeah. Well. That'll do it. Some plate. Alright. I feel confident enough to start the top. There we go. Watch this have a completely different reaction. One thing I notice is that where it bubbles, it's harder to get the stuff off. And in some places it just dissolves. And I think that's pretty good for today.
Inspecting the top of the dresser revealed a lot of stains and pings in the surface. A lot of sanding fixed this. The top drawer has this nice two-tone feature. And as you can see on the middle drawer, the original pull is long gone. However, the bottom drawer has its original pull, which is quite Art Deco looking. It's made from fairly thin sheet metal, and I can see why the other one was replaced. Could this thing be close to 80 years old? As you can see, there's water damage, and actually I found sand in there, so I'm just going to replace these bottoms. And it looks like the paper's been in there a while too. You can see the wear on the drawer fronts from the pulls becoming loose and turning whenever they were used. This is a great scraper, but I really need more practice using it. This is the front of the top drawer. You can see the X from where the paint stopped the stain from penetrating the wood. And of course, I also stripped the sides and front of the piece. I noticed that neither the middle drawer nor the bottom one fit properly. The middle one has an irregular gap at the top, and the bottom one has difficulty closing. So I swapped them, which produced even less satisfactory results. An examination of the interior revealed the problem: worn and loose guides. And this one looks like it's made from scrap. To make the repairs easier, I took off the back. Notice how it says walnut. I think that refers to the stain. So now I can start cutting the replacement pieces. I started with the new drawer bottoms. I used a panel of underlayment. It was cheaper and a better quality than the plywood that was available. It was also closest in thickness, but I still had to rabbet the edges slightly. These new bottoms are a lot nicer than the originals. And now to cut the drawer guides. I ended up replacing all the guides for the bottom two drawers. Getting the spacing right was a bit finicky, as I had to measure everything from the top rail. And finally, I filled this little divot in with some epoxy putty. That's it for the repairs. Now we can start the refinishing. I start it by recreating the X on the top drawer. I repainted the X by using a semi-gloss primer paint combination. This allowed me to get coverage with just one coat. As this is my first time using a gel stain, I did a test on a piece of maple veneer plywood. I wanted a darker stain than the original, but I found the available walnut stains too dark. I used a traditional cherry by Varathane. I applied 4 coats to the test, and you can see the increase in depth of color going from left to right. The dark square in the corner was my test for a contrasting color. I wasn't that happy with the results, so I decided to forego the two-tone finish. I was also working to a deadline, as I wanted to get the dresser up to the cottage before we close it up for winter. Now that I knew what to expect, I could start staining. I started with the top of the dresser, and while that sat for 5 minutes, I coated the drawers. Then back to the top, wiping off all the excess stain. Even after all that sanding, I did not get rid of all the scratches, as you can see here. Then there was this blot that was totally invisible before the stain was added. And after 4 more coats, here are the drawers. All that elbow work is paid off with a nice, deep, rich color. The last step is to add a finishing coat, and I chose a semi-gloss spray lacquer. One-day finish for fine furniture, doors, cabinets, paneling, and trim. Spray at room temperature. To apply this properly, I needed a temperature of between 65 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I was doing this in the second week of October, and that was the week the temperature decided to fall. And I definitely wasn't going to spray this stuff in the house. So that left the shed. So after 2 hours with the space heater on, the shed was only at 57 degrees. It took another hour, but it finally got the temperature. Whoa, not even there yet. And don't worry, I'll turn that space heater off when I spray. You definitely need a mask with the proper filters to do this. The paper mask doesn't cut it. What I'm doing here is wrong. That first coat was something else. The next 2 coats weren't so bad. They were easier to cover, and I knew what to expect. After 3 coats and a few dead brain cells, here are the results. Not bad, eh? To finish it off, I rubbed the whole thing with a paper shop towel, and that brought it up to a satin smooth finish. But what about the drawer pulls? It turns out that 3.5-inch screw spacing for drawer pulls is not that common. So I ended up ordering online. The ones I chose are from Hickory Hardware's Deco series. That round pull is very similar to the original. And here it is in its new home, the back bedroom of the family cottage. I'll get that hardware on next spring when we open it up again.